Sister Silvereen, Ambassador Extraordinaire of PAAIN, Parental, Alienation, Awareness International Network, and we are talking about From Pain to Healing, where we are going to have a series of talks on Sundays from 5:30 p.m. to 6 p.m. on Sankhya TV. Thank you.
Sister Silvereen, once again, it's a pleasure being here with you. And I have a lot of questions based on our last couple of conversations. Last time we spoke about the masculine energy, and in a previous episode, we spoke about the female energy. Today I want to speak about masculine meets feminine. Now, previously you spoke of where the soul is neither male nor female, but when it comes into the body, when it takes a physical form, then we have where it manifests based on the physical form, which is, if it's in a female body, it'll manifest more feminine attributes. And if it's in a male body, more masculine. Now, you had also mentioned that it's not strictly masculine, it's not strictly feminine, it's a mix of both. Can you elaborate a bit on the male meets female energy?
Sure. So here we have male aspects meeting female aspects, and there's always this feeling where the male feel that there's a dominant feeling of dominance. Male always feel that they have a higher, whether you call it authority over the female aspect, but they always feel that they are the one above. So there's a feeling of dominance, and of course it's not healthy. It's never healthy. And also men in general, they feel very possessive of their female, of their spouses. I'm not sure why, but yes, the simple fact of feeling possessive, for example, that he thinks that she is mine no matter what. And this possessiveness also shows insecurity. Insecurity means a fear of losing. So he is insecure of his partner because in his mind he thinks that if she finds someone's better, she could leave him and go. So all this kind of possessiveness, this insecurity, this fear leads to very bad relationship between two people, because no one, literally no one, could live happily under this kind of energy that we call protective energy, which is not necessarily protective energy, but it is a sense of possessiveness. This sense of possessiveness really reflects insecurity, it reflects fear. And no one could live happily and peacefully under fear. Now, if you think for your own self, if you are in fear, what will be, or how will be your thoughts, your words, your actions, your feelings, your emotions, your mentality, everything, even your body. Think about yourself having to sleep in the night with fear in your mind. And you are sleeping next to an individual who you fear. Can you ever sleep in peace? And if you cannot sleep in peace or get a good rest because you are next to this energy of fear, negative energy, you cannot get a proper sleep or rest, then when you cannot rest properly, what starts happening to your mental and emotional health? Both will be disturbed. You are disturbed both mentally and emotionally. And once your mind is disturbed both mentally and emotionally, it then starts affecting your bodies. So when you see these women or girls who are having or not having good relationships of spouse, under their eyes starts getting dark circles. You could see all the stress, you could see all the tension, you could see all their fears in their faces, in their expressions. You could see fear in their eyes. So everything manifests or shows itself in the way they act. So fear is actually very dangerous. And this is what leads, this possessiveness, this insecurity, all these fears is what then leads to violence in the homes. And when we talk about domestic violence, it simply comes from fear, the fear of losing. I remember very well here in Trinidad when you read the news, the man says, well, if I cannot have you, no one cannot have you. And so if someone else cannot have the one who he called his wife, then he tried to finish her off. It's either I have you or no one have you. So this kind of possessiveness, this kind of attachment leads to violence and eventually death. How many people we have heard were victims of domestic violence? So it is a big issue. This possessiveness, this dominance, this insecurity that men suffers from is very, very dangerous, because the outcome, the result, will not be a positive one, but definitely a negative one. So these are issues, yes, which we should be talking about, I think, even more. There is a problem. Once there is possessiveness, there is a sense of possessiveness. Once there is a sense of dominance, once there is a sense of insecurity and fear, that we have a problem. There is a problem to address. There is a problem to take care of.
Now you mentioned possessiveness as being part of the masculine trait, a negative masculine trait, but there are a lot of women who are also possessive and domineering.
Yes.
Is it then that is a masculine energy
Correct.
being manifested?
Yes.
Then how does a woman, the male now has to work on his masculine or masculinity, but then for a woman who is naturally nurturing, how does she work on that possessiveness?
Good. So you will find a woman, but not in a higher percentage as male. Male naturally have that kind of, let's call it, traits or nature. You always think that my wife is mine, until maybe someday his wife leaves and then becomes someone else's one. So who was his finally? But the point is that they have this feeling that their wives are theirs, and theirs alone. But that is not so. But so even though you may find that women do have some of these dominating nature or traits, it may not be as much as the male aspect, the masculine aspect. It may be, let's say, 2 or 3% in a 10%. But generally speaking, men have this feeling and this belief that, okay, I am the man of the house. Everyone has to listen to me, that kind of nature they have. So even though we find it in women, it may not be a general statement to say all women has this nature also, but very little, less a percentage. And even though they have it, A lot of people live like, unconscious, unaware that this nature is very dangerous. This nature that they have, this dominant nature, this insecure nature is damaging to them. And not only them, to those who they interact with, to those around them. So these kinds of programs that you are creating to enlighten the public, to enlighten the community, I think is so necessary. Where both male and female could learn and even learn to change how they live, because they live a lifestyle not knowing how dangerous it is. Fear is dangerous. Anger is dangerous. And these two negative emotions are shown in so many ways. To feel dominant over others is a sign of fear. To be possessive is a sign of fear. To speak harsh is a sign of anger. And the majority of, just call it violence today, is actually based on these two negative emotions, fear and anger. So whether you speak harsh to your wife or vice versa, wife speak harsh to husband, it clearly shows that there are these two negative emotions that is playing its part in this relationship. And any relationship that has fear or anger in that relationship, it could never, will never be a healthy relationship. In order to have a healthy relationship, all fears and all anger should be cleansed, absent. Healthy relationship should not have these negative emotions playing parts. But in a healthy relationship, there is acceptance, there is love, there is peace. And once you can accept and trust is an important thing in relationship. If you trust your wife or vice versa, wife trusts husband, totally, there is no fear in that relationship, then there will be harmony in that relationship. But once these negative emotions of fear and anger outcomes or overpowers trust and acceptance, then our relationship will have a problem. So most important thing in any relationship, of course, is trust. Acceptance, accepting each other for who they are. Trusting in the relationship. I trust my wife to go out with her friends. And if you really trust your wife, then, of course, there will not be conflicts in that relationship. Because you know that if your wife go out with her friends, she's not going to look at any other male. There is such trust, there is such security. You are assured if your wife really loves you, she will not look at anyone else. But if that relationship is not a relationship that has pure love and trust, and she starts looking at someone, definitely shows that there is a problem in that relationship. If your wife, who you think is your wife, starts looking at someone else, it clearly shows that she has a problem with you. And if you don't address the problem she is having with you, then definitely she will start looking at others. So then who is to be blamed? Because people will gravitate to where there is love, true love, where there is peace, where there is happiness. Because this is what the human being is about. The human being that you are needs love, needs peace of mind, needs happiness. And if the being is not receiving this peace, love and happiness, it will gravitate or go towards those people who gives them the peace, that love and that happiness. So if my wife is looking at someone else, I have to address that problem with myself. Why is my wife searching for love outside or happiness outside? It simply means that I am not able to give her what she needs.
Now, you are saying that the insecurity is a result of fear. The possessiveness is a result of a feeling that they will lose something. So there's a fear. Where does this fear originate? Is it something learned, or is it something that comes from within?
Yes, good question. So fear actually starts in the mind from a single thought. A single thought. Let's say, practical example. Let's say you left your door open, and you're thinking now in your mind that, this door open, if someone passes and see the door open, they might want to come inside. Where did the fear originate? From the door or from your mind? So this is the consequence of thinking that the door is open. Here I have created in my mind that because the door is open, I think that someone could always come inside my house. No long ago, people used to leave everything open and nobody used to come. You know why? There wasn't the fear. There wasn't that fear that someone will come and steal from my house because the doors are open. No. But now, because there is a lot of fear, because I see the door open, I think that someone could always come and steal. So when I create this energy of fear within me, here I am creating this fear that I left the door open, somebody could always walk in the house. What am I creating there? So whatever you create is what you attract. Whatever you create is what you are attracting. So if you are creating fear in your mind, you will naturally and eventually attract fear. Fear attracts fear. Whatever energy you are creating, however you are, that is what you attract. So if this spouse is creating fear because his wife could leave him, what is he creating? So that fear, that energy that he is creating, eventually results in his wife leaving him. He had created that. That is what he had produced. And this is how relationships are based. Either it's based on fear or true love. If there is true love in a relationship, of course, there will be harmony in a relationship. Once there is fear in a relationship, you can never be at peace. You can never be happy. There can never be love, because both love and fear cannot work together. You cannot think that you love your wife, but your wife is scared of you. That is not love. You think that she is with you because she loves you, but she is staying with you because she is scared of you. What kind of relationship is that? And if she doesn't stay with you, then you think that she feels that you can go wherever she is and cause some kind of damage. So getting rid of the fear. The fear is created in the mind, and we were not born to be fearful. It was developed. We are creating it. It did not come from outside. We allow external situations to influence us in such a way that as soon as we think that we are going to lose something, we have fear of losing. And this is where this is the basis of fear. Fear is fear of losing. People have fear of dying. What fear of dying mean? I can lose my body when I die. Because spiritually, emotionally, mentally, you cannot die. You don't die. The being is eternal. That spiritual being that you are is eternal. And spiritual means that you have all godly qualities within you. And godly qualities does not include fear. Fear is not a godly quality. But fear is a mental weakness, emotional weakness. It's developed through a single thought. And so to get rid of this fear, you have to start to empower your mind, strengthen the mind. And this is where meditation comes in. Meditation starts to empower you. Meditation gives you that power, that ability to see, to hear, to know, and yet still not be affected by what you hear, you see, and you know. You can listen to the worst news, and yet still you are stable in your mind. There is no fear. Like nowadays, we know about the coronavirus, and since last year it has been roaring, let us call it so. And there was a lot of fear and tension, I remember, last year. When this global pandemic, was in the whole world. Lot of fear in the minds of everyone. But that fear was an external thing. The coronavirus is out there. It's not inside of me. But I simply think about it. I'm thinking about it, which means I'm bringing it inside of me. And what am I doing with it? I create a fear within me. So I create this fear that if I get this virus, what will happen? I am hearing of others getting it. It's close to me. What is happening in my mind? Lots of fear. What fear does to us? Fear weakens us emotionally, mentally, spiritually, as well as physically. And once you're physically and emotionally and mentally weak, you also weaken your immune system. And when the immune system is weak, that any virus attack will take over your body. So, what is causing you that?
Fear?
The fear. Not the virus, is the fear. So fear is very dangerous. And anger is also very dangerous because when there is anger, anger also weakens you. And once you are weak emotionally, mentally, spiritually, you also get weak physically. Once you're weak physically, means the immune system is weak, then any virus and any disease, any sickness can just take you over, and that's the end of you. So what is killing you? Not the virus, not the disease, but fear and anger is dangerous. So now I invite you to a few minutes of meditation. And now we're going to think about my emotional and mental state of mind and how I can strengthen my emotions, my feelings in order to strengthen my body. When I understand that my every thought has an effect on my mind, my feelings, my emotions, and my body, and that I am influencing myself through every thought, then I will choose to think positive, to think right, to just create such thoughts that will be positively beneficial to me and to others. When I understand that every thought that I create penetrates every cell in my body, and that thoughts influenced by anger and fear are very damaging, very dangerous to me, then I can choose to change that thought of fear into a thought of love. And if I start creating more loving feelings, loving thoughts, generating loving energy towards myself, then I start changing the way I think about myself and others in a more positive way. So I take my attention to the center of my forehead, and there I take a look at myself in my most beautiful and eternal form of light. And I understand that this is who am I. I am a beautiful being of light, playing a part through this physical body. But I am not this physical body. I am light, a point of pure energy, and my natural qualities are those of peace, are those of love, are those of happiness, wisdom, and power. And as I start changing the way I think to a more pure and positive approach, then I naturally start generating within me pure and positive energies. And as I start growing positive energies, then naturally the weaker energies of fear and anger will start disappearing. Because whatever I think about more is what I grow more. And so when I reflect, I ask myself, what am I growing more? Am I growing goodness or am I growing negativity? Because whatever I grow, whatever I produce, is what I become. I am what I think. And my life is based on how I think. In this awareness, I understand that I have the ability to change the way I live simply by changing the way I think, because my every thought becomes the basis of the way I live. The quality of my life depends on the quality of my thoughts. Thank you. Om Shanti.
Join us globally every Sunday at 5:30 p.m. on Sankhya Television as Parental Alienation Awareness International Network, PAAIN, presents Ambassador Extraordinaire, Brahma Kumaris, Sister Silvereen Mongru with the series From Pain to Healing.
This program is sponsored by Sampex Limited, Networking Societies for a Better Future.